All right, me and Brendan Taylor, we're here to break down the fights from True School Sports, the legend, the myth. Well, no, he's a legend. Yeah, not a myth. But anyway, man, we're gonna run down the list of all seven fights. Let's start with fight number one: Joshua Buatsi against the guy who was at one point the number one super middleweight in the world, ranked by the Ring, WBA champ. He won that tournament. Blah blah blah. Callum Smith
Yep.
against Joshua Buatsi. Who do you I'll let you go first, man. Yeah.
I like in this fight I like Joshua Buatsi. I think like Callum Smith as light heavyweight, I've always felt he was a bit overrated by the media. Like because if you look at his early knockouts against Mateo Bartalik and Leonard Castillo, those guys weren't really like tried and true proven light heavyweights. And then when he fought an elite guy in Beterbiev, who's the best light heavyweight in the world, you know, he got beat up. And I just feel like Buatsi has more speed. There's more dimension to what he does offensively. He has a hand speed advantage. He doesn't have a punching power advantage, but he punches hard enough to offset a lot of what Callum Smith wants to do.
He has a
You
grip
know, we know
strength
that.
advantage.
Yeah. And Callum Smith likes to throw
Did
a
you see
left hook.
that, by the way? I don't mean to, but did you see that, by the way? They all
Well,
tested their grip strength on the card.
I heard about it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. Who won that?
Buatsi, his grip strength was like 79 kilograms or something, and Callum Smith was about 65, 64,000. So he had a significantly stronger grip strength, for what it's worth, Brendan.
There you go. Maybe that helps not in the clinch.
But you were talking about Smith's hooks and
Yeah, he
yeah,
likes to look for that left hook, and I just feel like Buatsi's a sharper, straight puncher. You know, he throws straight punches at an elite level, and he has a speed advantage. So I just feel like you look at Smith, who hasn't been in the best run of form, Buatsi, who still is one of the best light heavyweights, not named better be ever Bivol. I think this is actually one of the easier fights to pick in the card. I'll go with the Buatsi by decision.
okay. Well, I push back on some of your assessment. I actually think Callum Smith is the better fighter. I'm not picking him,
Hmm.
but I actually think he is the better technical fighter. I think Joshua Buatsi's defense borders on porous. You know,
Hmm.
I'm gonna use good vocabulary here since we're talking about
Okay,
British boxing.
SAT words.
I'm gonna try and speak proper English. You know, I think,
Good, good.
yeah. I think his defense is kind of mediocre, right? But he's
Mhm.
physically strong, as evidenced by the grip strength and everything. But the problem with Callum Smith, he's older. He's 34. Buatsi's 31. Not only does he have a couple losses on his record, there's no shame in losing to Canelo and Beterbiev, but it's
Correct,
the
correct.
fashion in which he lost. He didn't put up a lot of resistance. And I don't like how Callum Smith reacts when guys start effectively punching at him.
Hmm.
And, like he is to me the more compact puncher, the guy who's more balanced and delivers his punches with better technique and balance. And he has the best punch between the two of him, his left hook. He has a hell of a left hook. He
It
never
is.
threw it against Canelo. Canelo shut it down, but he's got a hell of a left hook. Feels like you want to say something, BT. Let it rip.
I just feel like too, like with Callum Smith, like you alluded to it. When guys start punching at him, he doesn't really like push back. And I think even though he has a long rangy type frame, he doesn't always fight to that, to his actual frame. He gets smaller, he gives up his size, which I think
That's
is
why his
gonna
best
play.
punch is his left hook. You would think a tall
Yeah.
guy'd be the two or something, or the
Yeah,
uppercut
like
even, but yeah.
you would think with Buddy McGirt, old school American, style, he'd have a better like base of skills to work off and set up the left hook, but he doesn't do that. And I just feel like because of that and Buatsi's speed and his sharpness down the middle, that's going to be the difference in the fight.
Again, I feel like Buatsi's defense isn't that good, and I feel like he's go ahead.
Willie Hutchinson, when he fought Willie Hutchinson, there were plenty of moments where Willie Hutchinson punched in between the shots of Buatsi. So I definitely see what you're saying, but I just think right now at this time, timing is everything in boxing. I think Buatsi should get it done.
Timing has a lot to do with not just this fight, but a couple other fights, we'll get to down on the card. And Willie Hutchinson, styles make fights. He's a mover. He's good at turning guys, and he's unorthodox too with the angles he punches out of when he turns you. Callum Smith is a lot more stationary, and I just don't trust Callum when he's been taken to the woodshed a couple times. That when Buatsi's not going to stop throwing, Buatsi's the naturally stronger fighter. And I think Callum, man, he goes to that shell when guys start really putting combinations together. And I don't trust him to punch in between Buatsi's punches. I worry that Callum Smith will just shell up a little bit too much. So even though I was tempted to pick Callum because I think he's achieved heights Buatsi may never reach. Like, he was
Hmm.
at one point considered maybe the best super middleweight in the game. He was definitely a world champion, the WBA champ. But yeah, man, I just think timing, like you said, Buatsi's 3 years younger. He hasn't lost. And there's going to be plenty of opportunities there for those superior technical skills to take advantage of that mediocre defense. But I don't trust him to let his nuts hang, so to speak, and to throw that hook in between punches. I'll give the edge to Buatsi as well. I got Buatsi.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And well, Callum Smith too. Like if you go back and you look at earlier in his career, the second round of the World Box Super Series, he was supposed to fight Jurgen Brähmer. Brähmer pulled out. He fought Nicky Holschkin, the kickboxer. It was kind of awkward. Buatsi's not the kind of fighter. He's not an awkward fighter. But with Smith, if you can change the rhythm and cadence on him, you can shut down his offense, pretty effectively. So I think that's another thing to look out for.
Well, Buatsi, he'll put punches together. He's not worried. He has balls. He's not worried about getting hit. He trusts his chin seemingly, and he'll throw the next punch when another guy wouldn't. And so that
Correct.
makes him a little harder to anticipate. He'll be a little bit off balance with a right hand to the body, but then he'll punch out of that and keep fighting downhill. So yeah, man, I give the edge to Buatsi. But before we finish with this breakdown, can you please let the people hear Callum Smith talk for himself?
Yeah, mate, I'm one of the best middleweights in the world, and on me day, you know, you know how he talks,
Callum, how do you think you do against Buatsi? Despite being a former champion, you're actually the underdog in this fight.
mate. Watsy's a good fighter, but on me day, I don't know, mate, spark out, knock him out.
All right. Okay. Good. All right. Well, as I recover from Brendan's